Hi, welcome back to Kay's Creative Home. Today we're going to be taking these anchor wreath frames from Dollar Tree and combining it with this sandy color mesh, some ribbons from Dollar Tree, these little pieces of what I call sea glass, and then I have some other items here from Dollar Tree. We got some of these craft sticks. And I'm going to also be using seashells, a few sea creatures, possibly some rope. We've got some greenery. I ended up only using one of these. And then I think the last thing I have here are the pearls. Yes, I'm holding those up now. So let's get started. So what I did is take the wreath and put it, I guess it's considered upside down. So you have like the cup shape or the U shape facing up. And I'm going to fill this area on one of the wreath frames. So what I'm going to do is I folded out under one end about a half an inch to an inch. I gathered it and I'm going to attach it to the top of my anchor. And I'm going to use a zip tie to hold that in place. Once I have that done, I'm going to move on down to the other end, and I didn't do any measuring with this mesh. I just kind of, ran it across the anchor, see how much I needed, and just cut it, making sure I had a lot of give because I wanted to kind of bundle up within the anchor. So I just gave it a cut there. Do the same thing to this end, fold it under and gather it. And then I'm going to attach that not to the very bottom, but right above the bottom of the anchor before you get to that U shape at the bottom. So I guess that's the end of the handle. Don't know what to call it, but that's where I'm going to attach that. Now with that done, I'm kind of just folding the sides under so it has a nice gathered look, and it's going to fit down into that first part of the anchor there. So I'm just placing the scissors there as a weight to hold the mesh down while I work on the next piece of mesh. So now I'm going to do the crossbar of the anchor, and I'm going to use the same method, just kind of eye how much I need by holding it over that area. And then I'm going to gather one end and attach it to the, and I'm sorry it folded over my hands, you can't see, but I'm doing the same thing, gathering one end, and I'm going to attach it to that end of the anchor right there. Again, using a zip tie. And then I'm going to cut it with my new zip tie gun. It's working out really well. So if you want to know more about that, I've done a video on that. You'll find it in my videos. And so I'm going to take that same piece of mesh and do the other end. Gather it up, and again attach it to the other side of that crossbar. So the whole idea behind all this mesh is just to give me some filler, so when I place the other things on my anchor, it won't look lost. It'll have a background to it. So now I'm going to do the bottom part of the anchor, and I'm just going to do the same method. Again, just rolling out my mesh, kind of eyeing how much I'm going to need, giving it a cut, gathering the ends, and attaching it to the form. If you're enjoying the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. This really helps my channel to grow, and I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get this last piece of mesh on here. And so this is how it's looking right now, and I've just been playing around with it, gathering in it, and kind of mashing it into the wreath form to get it to stay there. Now the next thing I have here is the greenery. That was more of a vine look, and that came from Dollar Tree. And I have attached seashells and those little craft wood sticks. So far I got to start because I didn't think you all wanted to sit there for a half hour and watch me just glue on things. So you can kind of see how I've laid them out, just kind of randomly there. And then on the bottom I've got I'm actually gluing the greenery to the mesh and then making sure that the seashells and things on top of the greenery are secured well with hot glue. So I'm going to just continue working through that for a minute, and so you can kind of see how I've laid things out. And I also found a few of these little sea creatures. I actually got them in a pack from Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to figure out where I'm going to add a few of these. I ended up adding the seahorse here at the top, and you can see my little octopus to the right. I'm going to add that in later. Another thing I thought that would be cute would be to add a couple pearls inside of my shells, my clam shells. And I thought they would just add some interest and a little bit of cuteness. And then these little pieces of sea glass, I'm just going to randomly place here and there. That whole jar, I can't remember. I think I might have found that at Home Goods years ago. It's really just for bath decor. And it was very inexpensive for this huge bottle. And I thought I'll use the little sea glass for crafts and then just use the jar in my bathroom. But I never ended up using the jar. I just have this thing of sea glass sitting with my craft materials. So I decided to pull it out today and add it to my wreath. So now that I've filled in this anchor, and I think I've got enough things in here, I take another anchor, and I place it on top. So this time it's curved out. So I've got this nice gap in between the top and the bottom one for all this filler. So now what I have to do, again, when you're working with Dollar Tree wreath forms, they're not perfectly, symmetrical or anything. So I'm trying to just lay them together as best I can so that it actually closes and each side and each end meets up. And I'm taking zip ties and going to various places around the anchor and just pulling it together. And I made a second one of these. So what I would advise if you do this is to put all your zip ties in and pull them together snugly where you think you will need them, and then go back and tighten them all, because sometimes here I got them so tight and it was hard adjusting. So what I'm adjusting is like some of the mesh was squeezed out, so I'm trying to push it back in, and then some of my shells were like in a place where it wouldn't close completely, so I had to kind of maneuver the shells around so that I could get it to close tightly. So that's something to consider if you decide to make one of these. Again, I'm just going around. I did not put them everywhere. It was just like at certain joints. If I put it in one place, it seemed to hold it, for a whole lot of that area. So I'm going to finish putting in a few more. And then we're going to do a little bit more decor on this before I'm finished. So again, if you're enjoying the video and you want to see more of these things, don't forget to hit the button and ring the bell so you'll be notified as new videos are released. Now, one thing I forgot to mention was don't forget to, as you cut your zip ties, make sure you turn that edge in so that you're not leaving it out to cut yourself or scratch your door. So with all of that in place, the next thing I want to do is add another sea creature at the bottom just to kind of balance out my wreath. So I'm going to just glue this to this point on the wreath. And then I think later I took some of the legs and just kind of tucked them up under some of the crossbars of the wreath to just help to hold it in place. And I'm trying to decide what else I want to add, and I ended up not using this greenery. It was kind of like, I guess I had so much filler by this point. It was covering the filler and I didn't like how it looked. So I decided not to use that. It probably would have been better used as a backdrop behind some of the shells and those wooden sticks. But anyway, I decided I'm going to use this ribbon. It's a net-like ribbon, so I thought it would give the effect of a net wrapped all around the anchor. So I'm giving that a try and decided this tan was the same color as the mesh and some other things, and it just blended all together. So after playing with it a bit, I decided I needed to add some more color. So I decided to add this lighter color net-like ribbon and just combine them together so it would have some contrast and it wouldn't just all be that sandy color. You'll see that I really made a mess of things. This ribbon got so tangled together, so I had to just kind of unweave it. So you may want to, I don't like dropping things to the floor. It's just one of my things. I don't like things on the floor. So anyway, you might want to find a container or however you decide to do it so that your ribbon isn't all twisted together like this. So just be careful when working with this ribbon. So what I decided to do was just to make my bow in my hand, and I started with 2 4-inch loops, and then I did 4 of the 5-inch loops because where I'm going to place it on the anchor is not very wide, and I didn't want it to completely cover the anchor, which is one benefit of using this net ribbon because it has all these holes and you can kind of see through it to the anchor. So I had to grab a zip tie out of there, a bigger one, because I needed a large one that would wrap around the anchor completely. So I put my smaller zip tie around the center of my bow to hold the bow together, and then I put that large zip tie in the back because that's the zip tie I'm going to use to attach it to the anchor. So I just got to pull my little zip tie tight and cut off the ends and fluff out my bow a little bit. I think I do most of that after I get it on the frame because it was just so much netting everywhere. So like I do a little bit of fluffing here, and then I'm going to take that large zip tie and wrap it around the anchor frame. And then I'm going to get that adjusted. So here I am now wrapping it around the frame, getting it together in the back. And again, once you get that zip tie together, make sure you turn it so that piece isn't sticking straight out so it can scratch your door. Excuse me. And so again, I got to do a little bit of fluffing. Now I started this bow, sorry I forgot to mention it, with a 24-inch tail because I wanted to have plenty of length to wrap around my anchor. And then I had so much, it's like, Lord, what do I do with all this ribbon? Because after I made my bow, I had another probably 24 inches. So I took the first tail from the bow and wrapped it, as you see, around the bottom of the anchor. And the second 2 pieces from the tail, first I tried to curl them, and I'm like, this is just too much ribbon. So I ended up just cutting the last 2 pieces of tail from my bow. And once I did that, I kind of curled it a little bit, and it just worked out a lot better. Now I did not do just a straight cut across the ribbon. I kind of went along the edge, went with the design of the ribbon. So I was kind of cutting up and down. So I wouldn't end up with like open holes. I wanted all of it to kind of look right at the bottom. I don't know how to describe that. So hopefully you can see a little bit of what I was doing there. All right, I got my bow together. I got this ribbon wrapped around. You see I'm still playing with that. Wrapping it around the anchor, just letting it hang. I want the anchor to look like it got all ensnared in this net. And again, I'm cutting the ends a little bit. I don't want them to look perfect. I'm actually making the bottom of this one a little like strands at the bottom, like it got ripped a little bit, giving it a little bit more of a real look. Okay, so I'm going to finish that up, and then as always, I'll share some pictures with you at the end. But before I go, I just want to say thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll be talking with you again real soon.